Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Burning Boxes and Breaking Chains, a podcast all about accountability. We'll be talking tonight a little bit about how accountability fits into It's My Fault. Joining me tonight is the illustrious Dr. Willie Jolley. He has a pedigree in the speaking world that is above most anybody I know. In 2023, he was given the Cavett Award, which was voted on, and he's like the Speaker Hall of Fame in the National Speakers Association. I was privileged enough to be there in that room that night. He's also got the Certified Speaking Professional and a C.P.A.E. award. He's been on numerous television shows, and he's got so many accolades, it'd take me my whole 30 minutes to get through them all. But I am so honored and blessed to have Dr. Willie Jolley joining us here today. So, Dr. Jolley, welcome.
Thank you, my dear friend. And it's a pleasure, a privilege, a joy beyond measure for me to be on with you. And for those who know, whether you listen to my Sirius XM show or my daily radio show, or you've heard me speak, I always start the same way. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I did not choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be on with you and to have time with you, my dear friend Jeff.
Man, I do so appreciate that, Dr. Jolley. And for those that don't know, I mean, he is such a wonderful gentleman, gave us a guided tour around Washington, D.C. at night, back last year right around the 4th of July. So he's a phenomenal man, has a phenomenal wife as well. So I'm very honored to have you on here tonight. So, Dr. Jolley, so let's get it started with around It's My Fault. Was there one time in your life where you looked at a situation and you realized this is my fault and it made all the difference?
Oh, my God. Look, I wrote a book that has gone on to be a global bestseller called A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. And this book talks about setbacks. Now, some setbacks come upon you. You didn't do anything to deserve them. They're not fair, but they happened anyway. But I also write in the book that some setbacks are self-made, that we did this, we created it. And the question is, are you going to learn from it? Are you going to see, you got to face it, trace it, erase it, replace it. When you have a self-made setback, you first got to face it and say, you know what? I messed up. And let me tell you, folks, I have messed up a lot in my life. So face it, then trace it. Look back over that setback. What can I learn from that so I don't do it again? See, it's one thing to make a mistake. Once is a mistake, twice is stupid. But many people, they do stupid because they do the same thing over again. So face it, trace it, then erase it. Don't beat yourself up about it. There's a reason on your computer there's a delete key because you make a mistake. There's a reason on your or in your writing you might have a pencil with an eraser because you make a mistake. Whatever you have done, don't beat yourself up about it. Learn from it, grow from it, stretch from it. So face it, trace it, erase it, and replace that negative part of your life with a new positive part. And if you do, you'll turn that setback into comebacks and the comebacks into greenbacks. That's my other book. So first book is it only takes a minute to change your life. Then a setback set up for a comeback. Then I wrote a book called Turn Your Setbacks into Greenbacks, where I told people how to turn those setbacks into money. And that's what we want to help people do. I've made a lot of mistakes and faults and errors, but I learned from them. Another one is my new book. My new book is called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. And the book is the result of my 20 years on Sirius XM as the host of the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show and podcast. Over those 20 years, I've interviewed some of the greatest wealth creators of our time. Bill Marriott, David Rubenstein, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles, David Stewart, the owner of the largest tech company that is independently, privately owned, Worldwide Technologies, the co-founder of Netflix, Mark Randolph, Damon John, one after another, all these billionaires, multimillionaires. And one day the light bulb, Jeff, went off above my head, and I realized I had not realized that the big difference between being rich and being wealthy. Now, some of these people had tried to tell me, but I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But one day that light bulb went off, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I get it now. There's a distinct difference between being rich and being wealthy." And I didn't know what it was. And then I said, "Well, maybe I'm the outlier. Maybe I'm the only one who don't know the difference." So I went around the country giving my speeches to corporations and trade associations and conventions and churches, talking to people, saying, "Let me ask you a question. What's rich to you?" Number one answer, $1 million. Okay, rich is $1 million. Then if rich is $1 million, what's wealthy? And they'll look up in the air, they'll ponder, they'll think, I guess it must be 5 million, 10 million, a billion. And then I realized they didn't know either. Okay. And
Yeah,
so if
I
you
hear you.
don't if you don't know what it is, how can you achieve it? Look, if I gave you and your listeners and your viewers a rock and say hit a wall close to you, could you do it? Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Now, but if I put a blindfold over your eyes, turned you around and around until you didn't know which direction you were pointing, would it still be so easy? No, because it's hard to hit what you cannot see. And
amen.
it's harder to hit what you don't know. And so once I realized that most people didn't know, I I made a decision to help them learn what the difference was, and I started writing this book. And then I called those billionaires and millionaires I interviewed. And I say, "Look, here's my theory. I'm writing a book about it. Am I right?" "Oh, you're absolutely right. Somebody needed to write this book. We're so glad you're doing it because it needs to be exposed to the world, the difference between being rich and wealthy." So the book is entitled "Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better." And it's a result of my making mistakes, but finally figuring it out.
There
And
you
now
go.
I'm helping other people to learn. And let me tell you, it's amazing the response. Amazing, Jeff. Amazing.
I am so glad that I walked up to you in Colorado, in Denver, at the Influence Conference and introduced myself to you a year and a half ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, hasn't it been?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It was at Influence in 20 in Colorado, just outside of Denver.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I remembered it too because Les Brown's the one that told me I needed to meet you. And once I saw you in operation in that room, I remember saying, "Yeah, and you need to know who I am too."
Well, I'm so glad we had breakfast or we had lunch. I can't remember,
We had
but
lunch there, and then we had dinner in DC
that's
last
right.
year.
That's right.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you did too. You're a fine
it's
gentleman and you're a beautiful bride. I'm so
I
glad we
appreciate
met.
that. Yeah, and it's amazing to me the when people look at accountability, and I've had this conversation multiple times so far, and it's like when you finally quit blaming others for your lot in life, to me, it's very freeing. It's a freedom that most people don't understand when they want to put the blame on other people out there. When you say, "No, it's my fault.
Right.
I'm just responsible for this," no matter what it may be,
Right.
you
And
know.
and you learn from it. You grow from it.
So,
Okay.
yeah, if you allow yourself, like you said, if you make a mistake and you do it again, it's stupid.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and it's what I said earlier today with Frankie. It's like it's a choice.
That's right. That's
You
right.
can't you can't continue claiming mistake.
That's right.
Then you
So
do the same thing over and over
so
again.
let me tell you how people have to get over some mistakes. So this book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better, has two groups that it focuses on. The first group are the people who thought they knew what wealth was, but really didn't, and want to learn what it really is. And I was in Cleveland, Ohio, a couple weeks ago, giving a speech, and I spoke on Friday, and spoke again Sunday morning at a church. Saturday, the client took me to a nice restaurant for lunch, and while we were there, one of the star players from the Cleveland Browns football team walked by, and he came, and the client said, "Hey, come over. I want you to meet Dr. Jolley." So the young man came over with his fur coat and his jewelry around his neck and his diamond bracelet on his wrist. And he said, Dr. Jolley teaches people how to become wealthy. And the young man said, I'm already wealthy, but I guess I could learn more. And so he took my card. And he and his entourage soon left. And I know he paid for the meal because there was a bunch of people. And when he left, I just said to my client, I said, you know what? I don't know that young man's financial situation, but I can bet you dimes to dollars that he thinks he's wealthy, but he's really rich. And that's good. Rich is good. He got a contract for millions of dollars to play football, but the owner is wealthy because the owner signs all those checks. And that young man, he got the contract. If as long as he plays that game good, he runs up and down the field, he plays good plays, he's at training camp and he works hard and he sweats hard and he gives his all, he will keep getting millions. But if he gets hurt or he's no longer productive, then that owner is going to replace him with another young man. And that owner is still going to be in that owner's box. He didn't sweat. He didn't run up and down the field, but he made billions of dollars every year while that young man made a couple million. Rich is good. That young man is rich, but wealthy is better. The owner is wealthy. And so all the people who want to be wealthy, this book is for all the people who want to be wealthy, but don't know how to get there. This book will tell you what I've learned and what I've been taught. I will teach you what I've been taught. Now, the second group are all the people who have sacrificed, saved, scrimped, lived below their means, done without, and yet they're concerned that their children are going to squander their money.
Yeah.
All right. All of the people who have saved, sacrificed, and they're concerned. As one man said to me, he said, Dr. Jolley, this book is a godsend because my greatest fear is that my children will not treat my money like I treated it. And they will go through in months what it took me decades and decades and decades to grow. They'll see this as a payday, as a lottery hit, as fun money when I want it to be a blessing to them. He said, this book, I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm buying, he bought like 7, 8, 9, 10 copies. He said, every one of my children has to read this book and my grandchildren, or they will not be put in the will. Period.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one way to do it. You know.
Wow. Wow. And one lady bought a box. She said, I got children, grandchildren, godchildren, nieces and nephews. She bought 30 books. She said, everybody gonna have to read this book. Every house needs this book. Every home needs this book. Every family needs this book. I'm encouraging everybody to go to richisgoodwealthyisbetter.com and get the book right now. Get multiple copies and share it with everybody.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's the thing I saw not too long ago. It's like, money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Money is the path to get there.
Yes. And what you have assets that can give you money, then you don't have to be so concerned about digging for the money and scraping for the money, because the asset will flow off money to you every year or every month, whatever a dividend. That's when you start to see wealth.
Yeah, exactly.
And anybody can do it, Jeff. Anybody can do it. In the book, I talk about the fact that it's not the amount of money you make, but what you do with it. See, there's a lady in the book I wrote about. This lady, her name was Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was a domestic worker in the 1900s who never made more than $6,000 a year. She cleaned people's homes and cooked their food. Never more than $6,000 a year, but she lived below her means. And she invested the difference. And when she died, she had a net worth of $2.7 million. Or how about the lady who was a legal secretary who never made more than $45,000 a year, but the lawyers would come and give her their stock buys to call the broker before the internet, and she would call in the stock pick that they wanted, and she said, "Why do you do this? Why are you buying stocks?" They told her about stocks. She started buying the stocks they bought. She started learning about stocks. And when she retired from that law firm, she had a portfolio of over $8 million. So I'm encouraging people to learn from this book, learn from what I've been taught, the lessons I've been taught from these billionaires, and that you can use to grow your wealth and to teach your children how to maintain that wealth.
Well, that's part of being accountable for yourself too, and making sure that you do what's right for you and moving forward and getting those assets and stuff. That's what the accountability is such a broad. It's like a spider web, that it can touch so many different areas of your life, and this is one way that it can do that.
Oh, you got to be accountable. And one of the things that accountability necessitates is discipline.
Oh, yeah.
Discipline. And I write about the fact that wealth is built on discipline. And there are 5 types of wealth, and each one needs discipline. The first wealth is health wealth. Got to have discipline. If you don't take care of your health, Zig Ziglar used to say, if you had a racehorse that was worth millions of dollars and ran and was number 1 in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, would you keep that horse up late, let it drink alcohol and let it smoke reefer and let it smoke cigarettes and let it eat any old thing and party late in the night? No, you take good care of that horse. Well, you are the horse. Okay, you can make millions of dollars, but you got to take care of your health. So first is financial wealth, then health wealth. How are you taking care? It was said that Steve Jobs, on his deathbed, and he had billions and billions and billions of dollars in the bank. He said, "I'd give it all away for more time."
Yeah.
Okay, so first is financial, then health, then relationship wealth. Les Brown says, it's not just where you're going, it's who's going with you. Mm-hmm. And my doctor said, it's the most important relationship, who's going to be with you at the end. When you come to the end, who's going to be with you? So about your relationships. And then it's reputational wealth. Now, today we call that a brand. What people say about you in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And how do they talk about you? And so you want to build your brand that people speak good about you and say you should do business with them. Let them be your free marketing agent. So you got financial wealth, health wealth, relationship wealth, reputational wealth, and then the last one is intellectual capital wealth. What do you know, and what are people willing to pay you for what you know? You're an expert in so many fields, Jeff. When we talked, you were in DC because you were there for a conference and you're in your area of expertise. And people have great respect for you because of what you know. And that's why they bring you to speak for their groups, because of what you know. And so, folks, I'm encouraging you to work on your different types of wealth, the different ones, and they all take discipline. Discipline.
That is one of the common things. I listen to Jim Rohn a lot, and that's one of his biggest things all the time is about discipline.
No question.
No question. You got to have the discipline.
You got to have the discipline.
Now, I had a conversation with somebody the other day that you probably know, Ray Leon.
Oh, I know Ray, a great guy. Yes, indeed.
He is part of my Friday at lunchtime. We have a strategic speakers that we get together online. Stephen Roll put this together, and Ray was on there the other day, and he hit on one. He called it the Solomon paradox. And when he said that, I went, I'm using that.
Tell me what the Solomon paradox is.
He says when you go into a client or a customer, you say, listen, I'm not saying I'm smarter than you, but I'm not emotionally attached to your problem. And I went, wow. Because, back years ago, Solomon, he would fix other people's problems, but he had a wealth of problems on his own he couldn't get through, but he was really good at solving other problems. Is that Solomon's paradox, and being able to walk into somebody, because a lot of times, whether CEOs and organizations, they think that they know the problem and they know their people, but they're emotionally attached to it.
Right.
To have someone come in and say, hey, yeah, I'm not smarter than you, but I'm not emotionally attached to your issue. Gives it, and if they're worth their salt, they'll step back and go, wow, that's absolutely true, because I don't have a dog in this fight. I can objectively look at this, and help you. So I will be using that going forward.
I like that.
I do too. I mean, so Ray is he's like semi-retired now. He's
still in South Carolina.
Yeah, he is. He was trying to sell a boat to us the other day, so he said he didn't need it anymore.
Right.
I made the comment that I was listening to Les one time, and he said that he was with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and somebody asked him how old he was, and Dr. Peale said, I'm 92. They said, a young man there said, I don't know if I want to live to be 92. And Dr. Peale looked at him and said, that's because you've never been 91. And Ray said he was there at that time, and he said that somebody said, well, Dr. Peale, if you're that old, why are you still doing this? He said, because I found that there are still a lot of negative people in this world that they need to hear what I've got to say.
Absolutely.
Absolutely true.
Let me tell you something very exciting. I got, speaking of Dr. Peale and Napoleon Hill and Les, the great achievers and great self-help folks. I've been doing this radio tour, book promotion tour. I've been doing so many interviews. I've probably done 50 in the last week.
Wow.
And I've had 3 guests, guest hosts who had read my new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better, and said the same thing. They said, you know what this book is? I said, what is it? They say, it's, in our estimation, it's the sequel to Think and Grow Rich.
Wow. All right, then I'm gonna have to put my hands on that.
Wow.
Too, with the books I've got, I feel like Jim Rohn. It's like I got a lot of books in my library, and I just feel smarter every time I walk in there. Because I got a lot of them to read.
Right. So I'm encouraging people. I love what Jim Rohn would say. He would say about the library. He said, if you ever go into a $10 million home, it always has a library.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the person who bought that $10 million home, did they buy it because it had a library, or did their library allow them to buy it?
Ooh.
Benjamin Franklin said the greatest investment you can ever make is the money you pour in your brain.
Oh, yeah.
The pennies you pour into your brain will produce dollars you can pour in your bank account.
Absolutely.
So we want people to read more. So I want everybody to read more, read the books. Go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie, WILLIE, winwithwillie.com, and get access to my products to help you win. Get my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. If you're new and you want to grow your thinking, it only takes a minute to change your life, or you want to help one of your family members. People often say, what do I do about my negative family member, my husband, my wife, my children? I say, get the book. It only takes a minute to change your life. Here's what you do. You say, I heard this guy on a radio show, on Jeff Bledsoe's radio show. I thought he was good. I got his book. I read it. I thought the book was good, but I want your opinion. Don't tell them they need it. Say, I want your opinion. Stroke their ego. If they read the book, they'll change. The book will change them. Okay? So it only takes a minute to change your life. A setback set up for a comeback. Turn setbacks into greenbacks. An attitude of excellence. Make love, make money, make it last. If you're in a relationship or you're trying to get in a relationship and you want to enhance a relationship or save a relationship, make love, make money, make it last. Get 2 copies, one for you and your significant other, and read it together. It will change your life. And of course, this new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. it will change your life. It will change your children's lives, and it'll change your legacy. We want generational wealth. We want 100 years from now, some child will know you were here by what you did with the money and the resources and the wealth that you accumulated, and you helped them in their future lives to be successful.
Wow. And he's not lying, guys. He's proven this time and time again through the years that he knows what he's talking about. He's helped lots of people, and they shocked me when I first met him. I told him I was awarded the Rosita Perez Award, and Dr. Jolley told me, he looked at me, he said, she was my mentor. I'm
She
like,
was my mentor.
That's an honor, it was a true honor for me to win that award, that my local NSA chapter thought I deserved that.
Right. Well, she was my mentor. And here's what she taught me. When I was a new speaker, I did all the stuff everybody else did. I came out and gave the speech. Well, you know that Edison failed 10,000 times, the 10,000 first time. Abraham Lincoln failed. And I sent her my little cassette tape of me speaking. And she reached out to me. She said, you know what, Willie Jolley, you've got everything it takes to be a great speaker, but you're telling everybody else a story. Tell your story.
Amen.
Tell your story. Don't worry about Edison and Abraham Lincoln and all of them. Tell your story. And for that day to this, I started telling my story, telling what I knew about my life and what I've learned. And it's had a profound impact. She gave me great counsel. Yeah. Great counsel. And here's the thing. I was wise enough to listen. We talk about accountability. There have been times when people have told me stuff and I didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
My mama, people ask me, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? My answer would be, listen to your mama. You don't know it all. Shut up and listen to your mama. I tell my young self, stop trying to know it all. You don't know it all. Listen to your parents. You might not agree with them, but they've seen some things you haven't seen. Listen to your parents. And if they're negative, prove them wrong, but don't ignore them and say they don't know what they talk about.
It's funny you say that. I remember one year, years ago, before my father passed, I was driving down the road and a commercial came on the radio, and the guy goes, son, right now you're 16 and I'm stupid. But you'll find as you get older, I'll get smarter. I called my dad and I said, you're one of the smartest guys I know.
he is, you're absolutely right. The older we get, the smarter they get.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's
the smarter they get. And I'm encouraging everybody to do that. And a couple of things I want to encourage people. One, I want you to go to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast and sign on, follow me, comment, share it. And I want you to do the same for the Jeff Bledsoe podcast here. Follow him, sign on, and share it, comment. Tell your friends about it. This will have a profound impact on y'all's life. And then listen to my XM show, Saturdays, 4 o'clock, channel 141. Each interview airs 3 times. It airs Saturday at 4, re-airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6, channel 141. Then it goes to the podcast. Podcast is available on iHeart, Spotify, all the platforms, the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. And then go to winwithwillie.com and get some of the resources, and go to wjwow.com for free resources that will grow yourself and grow your wealth. wjwow.com. And I just want to thank my friend Jeff Bledsoe for having me. It's been a privilege.
It's been phenomenal, Dr. Jolley. And mine right now is out on, I put it on all my groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. I am still walking before crawling before I walk and run with this. Our buddy Justin Jones Fosu said what he loved about it is I was doing it.
Yes, right.
He was the first guest I had, and it was actually would have been my father's 85th birthday on December the 12th is when I launched the podcast.
Well, I'm honored to be part of the first group, the first
Oh,
year.
you absolutely are.
And
yeah.
I want to thank you for having me, and I want to applaud you. And I want to say to everybody, remember, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come.
Amen. Amen. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here tonight, Dr. Jolley.
Have a
We'll
great
see
one.
everybody soon.
See you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.